tym odcinku będę rozmawiał z Lloke'iem, czyli producentem ze Szwecji, który został nominowany do szwedzkiego Grammy. Znaczna większa część jego placementów to są mainstreamowi artyści właśnie ze Szwecji, ale ma on też placementy w Ameryce. Podzieli się on z wami wieloma tipami odnośnie budowania marki, zdobywania placementów i wyróżnienia się jako producent. No a potem nauczy mnie on, jak robić bity w stylu R&B. No więc bez zbędnego gadania już zaczynamy. What's going on, guys? Today I'm with Lloke'i.
What's up, guys? Hope you're doing fine, man.
First of all, tell me how long you've been making beats.
I've been making beats probably like 4 or 5 years now. I started like in 8th grade, I think. I caught the interest, like from music class, so I just kind of stuck with it. So yeah, about 4 or 5 years.
I saw you was Grammy nominated, right? Tell us more about this Grammy nomination and how did you really get that?
Yeah, so it's a Swedish Grammy, which I got with my boy Castro. He's like out in Stockholm a lot with sessions with like the majors in Sweden. I just sent him like a, a Baton Rouge, like young boy type loop, right? And one of the biggest artists in Sweden named Adam, he just hopped on that shit and then he just said like, oh, we got one with Autumn. I'm like, oh shit, So then fast forward a little bit, that album had did real well, so it got nominated for a Swedish Grammy for hip hop of the year. So that was dope, man. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's a big achievement, bro. I saw you got pretty big amount of placements and some plaques as well. Tell us about how did you get that?
So this one, the Billboard one, got it with my boy Sonny Laurent for the Latin Billboard chart. So it's like, reggaeton, the reggaeton sound. So I had just like sent him loops and he had just cooked up a banger, like a summer vibe. It was perfect because it was in the middle of the summer. And then he just told me like, oh shit, it's doing real well. It's probably gonna peak Billboard. I'm like, oh shit. So then a few weeks goes by. I'm like, I got tagged in the story, right? And it just says number 23 Billboard charts. When I saw that, bro, I was like excited as shit. So I just went straight and just ordered the plaque, man. The first Billboard plaque, bro, is one you never forget. It was huge.
What would you say are the best networking tips in 2024 for producers?
I would say number one, nowadays, like 2024, content is king, man. Putting like videos of your sound, how like Cam J and all these producers are doing, just like showing your DAW, showing your input out, like the whole thing, showing like how you make your beats, how you make your music, and then also sending out a lot and just connecting. Because, like if you just combine all those three aspects, over time, people are just gonna know, oh shit, this guy's dope for loops. Let's say you're like a loop maker, right? This guy's dope for loops, so I need to hit him up for that quality. And that's pretty much what happened with all my placements. It's like I hit people up and they really fuck with the sound and they check my content and it all just aligns into like a just networking diamond,
Yeah, right. What's your tips on making better reels and short form content in general? Maybe to make people watch more or just increase the engagement?
I think short form is great. Like if you look at Steven Schaefer, for example, he's really short with it, but it really displays his unique style of making beats because his style is so unique and it really grabs attention as well. So he really gets demand through these short videos. But also what I do, with my value for producers is I do like a minute videos with just knowledge, those type of things. So honestly, what the best thing to do with content wise is just what you feel is best for your brand. So that could be short form, which honestly is better for grabbing attention and shares and engagement and all that. But you can also just provide pure value through longer content and show how the process is and then people really stick with you, So it's like either quick growth through short form or pure value and long-term growth and like fan base through value and long content, It kind of depends on what you're trying to display with your brand almost.
When it comes to monetizing your content, right? What are the best ways to monetize that short form content or just content in general?
I think monetize, since I don't really post on YouTube like that, I just kind of stick with, I do Instagram, and then the way I monetize, the way I translate that to sales and etc. is having a beat store, having a Shopify, which can translate those views, minutes watched, and all those people you're grabbing attention, it can transfer those into like sales, really get you those conversations. Having a Shopify where you sell kits, selling multi-kits, analog labs, like banks and shit like that, it always converts. If you make content, you have a Shopify, basically. That's how I monetize.
So let me ask you if you made a living of your music and what's your main source of income?
I do make my living from my music. My biggest right now, I'd say, is upfront from labels and also selling to loop companies and getting commission from loop companies. That's my biggest right now.
And what's your advice for anyone who trying to do the same thing, which is living off their craft?
I'd say building your brand, right, is the core. So let's say you've been pushing content and you really have a distinguished brand. You can start building these Shopify stores, BeatStars, building this network. And when you build all of these sources up over time, you know, and you start maximizing all these, so you send out every day, you upload content every day, you upload products consistently, and you are like really good at talking to your followers and etc. You can start really building sources, right? So you can get from Shopify, you can get from BeatStars, you can get from upfront, from labels, and then royalties. So it's like, for me, it's all about stacking. I don't really have the biggest, like one income isn't as big, but I have several. So it's consistent and it keeps building up over time. The more I put into my grind and the more like I send out, etc. So it depends from month to month.
So what's your take on treating music as a business and also moving and acting like an entrepreneur?
I think it's hard because, right, when I started off, I didn't know shit about the business, right? Moving forward from that, I think it is hard to, if you're like a born musician, if you only like to make music, the business side will be hard. It will be hard to be consistent with it. It will be hard to learn the right skills because, you know, you're not really interested in it. But it's so important as an independent producer to be able to have a business mind. So like networking, branding, marketing, etc. So it's hard. I think you have to kind of gain the mindset where you have to master these business aspects, right, in order to promote your music. And that's the unfortunate truth of the industry, because unless you're getting signed by like a major label, you're not really getting the exposure, or you're not getting the connects unless you actually put in the work and learn the business side. Yeah, that's my take on it. I mean, it's a tough thing, but you just have to learn it to grow as a music producer nowadays.
So we gotta have a schedule, right? So what's your tips to really stick to that schedule and do all of those things on a daily basis?
Honestly, this is something I struggle with even now. So I'd say if you are starting from scratch, right, I think just getting started, making it a habit. So let's say you want to make 50 beats a month per se. Start off with like one beat a day, and then eventually you can go up, and just gradually going up and putting it into routine is what I think is key for this. Because what I have done wrong, what I can say is I tried to do too much. So I end up procrastinating. I end up just not even getting started, you know, sometimes, because it's like I add too much to the table. I had too much to do every day, and it becomes just like a hassle to even get out of bed, you know. So I think the number one tips is, let's say I wake up, I'd say I'll do like the 5 most important things, and then throughout the day I can take breaks, or I can do kind of what I feel like doing, where I can feel like this is kind of something I can do every day, you know. So I don't want to do too much, because then it becomes just a hassle every day. If you think about like, oh, I have to kind of measure up to what I did yesterday, you're just going to be stuck in bed sometimes. So I think just kind of feeling yourself and feeling what you have time to do and what you feel like you can do every day is the key to getting like a consistent daily schedule, not overloading yourself.
So what would you say about the balance, like balancing social life with grinding and all of that stuff? Because we both know sometimes it's really hard. So what's your opinion on this based on your experience?
My friends kind of know me as like a workaholic, and they really try to push me out of my little man cave, right? It is hard, man. It is hard because like obviously just sitting inside every day, it's not really long term. It will really destruct your mental. Having just a few days a week, maybe let's say the weekend, where you can have more time for friends, for, you know, mental health, for journaling, for going to the gym, etc. I think you need that for long-term consistency. Otherwise you're just gonna go down, you know. Your mental health is the key to everything. So just learning to put aside time for friends, for doing things outside of your business, your music, is really key to long-term success.
What would you say is the biggest mistake that producers do just way too often? Like the thing you just see way too often producers do and they probably shouldn't.
I think it's the way they present themselves on social media. Because when I view Instagram, right, when I view my social media, I look at it like a online resume for the music industry, right? When I see these producers that have like a picture of like Scooby-Doo on their profile picture, you know, it's like you can't really take them serious sometimes. I think a huge aspect of actually getting these connections through DMing on social media is having a presentable Instagram profile, for example. You know, the biggest mistake I see producers doing is not taking themselves seriously and not being professional. Like having a picture, just a profile picture, like on yourself in the studio with a guitar. Doesn't have to be a high-end studio. Just like you sitting like this in front of the computer can really help people respond to you, because they're going to take you more serious than if you had like a Scooby-Doo profile, like I said. So just the way you present yourself on social media, that's like the biggest factor to what producers are doing wrong, I think. In the bio, you know, name your credits, name your biggest accolades, upload content with catching thumbnails, with a professional aesthetic, stuff like that. Just having a presentable social media presence is so important. I think that's what most producers sleep on, or at least haven't learned yet, you know?
What would you say are the best tips or any tips in general to stand out as a producer? Because we know that producing is really oversaturated. That's why you really gotta stand out, right?
To stand out, you have to push content, like I said, but you also have to stay genuine. You have to stay, like, you have to be yourself. I think since every person in this world is different from the base, is the content you should put forward, I think it should represent you. You should add some comedy to it, your humor. You should add things that you like. And that in itself will just make you come across differently. Most producers, most people want to have this image, right? Want to have this perfect picture on themselves, but the genuine approach to it, I think, is what makes it better. So let's say, you know, Bebo Beats. What I think he does really well is he makes kind of like short form content, which is kind of like comedic. So he made like, you know, loops in 2024, and then it's like just like straight mid trap loops. And he blew up off of that. Providing value outside of just music as well, I think, is a huge factor that can just bring you more connects, bring you more networking. Because I think after that video, man, he got some really fire connects and fire network. And shout out Vibo, man, he's from Sweden too. So yeah, that's my guy.
What's your best advice or any advice in general for producer who's starting in 2024 or any producers in general?
I think what I did was when I reached a certain amount of like mastery within my music. So I think the number one thing for a music producer is to really lock in. So just don't focus on networking, don't do anything like that. Focus on perfecting and reaching an industry sound, right? So reaching a certain mastery within your craft is the number one step. And then what I did differently was, so let's say I did 100% music. I focused 100% on my craft. What I did differently later on was I switched to 90-10 on networking and branding. So I think number one step is reach a sound that you think is really industry level, or at least like people can buy it, or like it's a fine product, right? And then just switch full focus to content, learn editing, learn how to set up a professional BeatStars, a professional Shopify, learn how to network, learn how to make loops, stuff like this. Just learning as many skills as possible, I think, will be so great for the new producer. So learning stuff like editing and stuff like that would just set them apart. So it's kind of like the more skills you learn, the more you're going to be set apart from the other producers and the saturated part of the industry. I think that's key.
So going back to your schedule, right? Tell us how your regular day looks like. What's your routine, basically?
So I wake up, basically what I do the night before, I write up my 5 most important things, 5 to 10. Why that helps is because when I wake up the next day, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. So I just wake up, get out of bed, and I go straight into focus mode. I don't even eat breakfast, I just straight grind, right? Until I reach like a certain amount of tasks. So let's say you feel like you finished the best or most important tasks. I mean, then you can kind of start to lower the gear a little bit. You can start to slow down. I like to think out the rest of my days if I have like completed the most important tasks. Basically, to summarize again, I just go out of bed, finish the most important things, then I just take a break, I eat, then I go into like beat making, just more like chill stuff like that, making loops, making beats. And then when I'm finished with that, it's usually around like 6, 7, I go to the gym. And then when I come home, I just focus on sending out, getting all my stuff out, and then it's just rinse, repeat from there. So like an example, what I can do on the morning is like, I can film content and edit it, and then I can finish some beats for like an opportunity and stuff like that. Just getting those most important things out of the way first thing of the day, like in the morning, then just kind of cooling it down, getting into more enjoyable things. I think that's the best part to longevity, at least.
Alright, bro, let's cook up.
Okay.
What would you wanna make, bro?
I would say I want to make like some R&B shit, honestly. So first foremost, I'm just getting like a sauce little guitar plugin. I don't know where I even found this, but it's just so authentic. Like you can hear it later on. And I like to just do like sevenths, just simple 7th chords, 7th progressions. Just make it sound R&B, you know, romantic, flirty, whatever. It's real sauce. I'm gonna show you. 122, I'd say. And then you just start. And I like to strum it, just for that authentic feel. I like to just pan it like this for some wideness, that wide touch. Then I'm just adding some top notes to just make it sound a little bit varied from the first 4 bars. So with R&B, it's like 7th chords are just key, man. I like to consolidate it, and then I like to just play around with the pitch, because like if you notice now, it just sounds more R&B like this. Like that's some Neo shit, bro. Like a little effectorinos. I like to layer it with like a little keyscape piano. I got this plugin, the acoustic bass. It's really nice. To consolidate the bass too and just pitch it down like an octave, because with this bass it's just, it doesn't reach those low notes. Copy this. And with pads, you kind of want whole chords. So like when I did this, because like it takes a while for the pad to actually make a sound, you have to kind of stick to the chords. You kind of want to fill the spectrum. So if I make like a low, if I want like a low pad, I want like probably like a higher piano, and then probably like a higher like guitar, just to fill out the spectrum. I like a little top lead and then just a vocal, and then I can be done. Add some variation to the. You would just always keep it interesting, you know. Just make some slight changes. And then what I like to do with those is just kind of make it really reverby, just in the background. So I just kind of with Splice, I just kind of put in the key. One second, boom. Now what I usually do with loops is just make it like 16, remove some stuff. I like to reverse it into the second half as well. What's also good for like loop sending is like, you should really label your loops. Let's say like, now I'm in R&B loop, so I made it like something soothing, Angel's Anthem, and then I put like a R&B. Just put like the BPM, and then just the key, your Instagram handle. And that's pretty much how I send out all my loops, so. Yeah. I think the fours were fire. Wait, if you go the 4-step again, keep it there. Exactly. Yeah. Maybe try like a cowbell, but make it like really low pitch, and then maybe try like reverb it. Yeah, open hat. I feel like an open hat would be fire. Like a fat one. Yeah, boom, boom. I'd say like a spins, low key. You know the beat is like finished when it's like all you hear now is just you can rap on it really well, and like because it's easy to overproduce. I've done that like for like my first 2-3 years, man. I just overproduced like crazy. So just like now I can really flow on it. So I think that's like perfect. That's definitely a placement beat though.
Loki made this.
That's a fire beat we made, bro. I didn't know I can make R&B beats, to be honest.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah, man. I think like you did with the drums, man, just left enough room for the artist. You did your thing, man. It was perfect. Placement beat.
Yeah, so appreciate you pulling up today, man. You gave us a lot of valuable tips. And you teach me how to make R&B, so appreciate that. Tell us what you're working on right now. You got any kits, any projects on the way?
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue with the producer sauce videos. I recommend you check them out. I'm also working on my bundle. The Basement to Billboard bundle is coming soon. Everything you need as a music producer, branding, networking, everything you need to know. So I'm just finishing up that right now.
Stay tuned for that, guys.